Hey there, it's Spikey, and welcome back to the series on the Fox TV show Alter Ego. Now, if you haven't watched our first recap of the first episode, then make sure to click the label up at the top left of your screen so that way you can get caught up so you know exactly where we are. Since this is the second one, we're not going to go into all the same details we did in the first one, we're going to jump right in. Now, something I did in order to make this even cooler is instead of just talking about it, we created a tier chart that we'll be able to actually go through. And so what we're going to do before we jump into episode 2's contestants is to actually look at where everybody ranked up on episode 1 to refresh our memories. Now, for a quick rundown of what happened last time, we started off with Dipper Scott, who had an epic performance, and then 7 was a close second based on how well they both performed and the personalities and the lore behind their avatars. For Queen Dynamite and Misty Rose, both of them were more conservative and not really the ideal style of what this show is looking for, so even though they made it into the next round, they are not at the top of the list. And unfortunately, Bernie Burns did get eliminated in that first episode because he had a weak performance. If he had done his farewell song as his main song, he probably would have squeaked out Misty Rose. So now that you're all up to date here, let's jump into episode 2. Now in episode 2 of Fox's Alter Ego, there were 5 new contestants whose names were Loverboy, Safara, Wolfgang Champagne, who went by Wolfy, Kai, and Aster. And compared to the first episode, none of the contestants were weak at singing, and so it made it a much more fierce competition. It was something that, regardless of who got eliminated in the round, was going to be a bummer because all of them brought so much to the table. The first person that went was Loverboy, and his personality was trying just a little bit too hard in order to try to sell his rock-style personality. He picked a great first song, which was Living on a Prayer by Journey. He had a really strong voice, but he was really lacking key power to be at that next level, even though it was good to listen to him. He'll make it far, but he's not going to make it to the championship, in my opinion. Now the next one is Safara, and Safara is cute and is truly the embodiment of why this show was created. She said something amazing. It was a great message. She said everyone is accepted the way they are, and they are empowered to be who they are, and on the inside, no matter who they are, they're never torn down. That is where she was from. And that is the type of mindset that the VTuber community and anybody that VTubes or 3D models is looking for. She sang the song Good as Hell by Lizzo, and she did great on the riffs and could really go with a strong voice. And because of that, she was able to replace Loverboy on the diamond, which means that at this point in the show, she was safe and guaranteed to go to the next level. The next one that came in was Wolfgang Champagne, and he was a little different, to say the least. He was a southern opera singer that goes by the name of Wolfy, as I mentioned before. He was pretty much a comedian, and he had a lot of southern jokes, and the slang was really funny, but his avatar didn't match his persona. So somebody that is southern and making a lot of funny jokes, you wouldn't expect to sing opera. So it actually is a cool combination, but because of that, it really puts him outside of his own character and will really hold him back from being able to go far. The song he sang was My Heart Will Go On, except he did the opera version of it by Il Divo. He has got a very strong voice, and he can hit almost any note, but his personality is what's going to hold him back in the end, and because of that, that's the reason he didn't get on the diamond. Next was Kai, and if you like boy bands like NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, then he was the enthusiast for you because he was looking to break out. He started off with the song Larger Than Life by the Backstreet Boys, and he had a good voice, and he knew how to get the crowd into it because the songs themselves were just exciting. However, his bass vocals were just a little weak, and you really couldn't bring home getting to the diamond because he just wasn't that powerful. He could hit the high notes and the riffs, but the main portions of the song that you would expect him to do well at was really his weaker area. Last but not least was Aster, and she sang Rainbow by Casey Musgraves. And the song was slow, which was a surprise, but it really allowed her to show off her vocals. And so even though she didn't stand out as a 3D model superstar like Safara did, her vocals and the very cool animation in the middle of the song where flower petals came down all around her gave an overall strong performance, which got her to the diamond and guaranteed her to go on to the next level of competition. However, when everything was said and done, it came down to the final two to be eliminated, and it was Kai and Loverboy. Now, both of them had really cool personalities, but their performances were both weaker. Loverboy's voice overall was more powerful, and it allowed him to move onto the head-to-head round, which meant that Kai was out. Kai's tones were just a little too weak, and because of that, he wasn't as good as Loverboy, and the crowd and the judges agreed. And so even though he was missing that, he still left with a great song, which was Bye 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 by NSYNC. Now, if we were to rank all these compared to the episode 1, Loverboy barely made it, and so even though he went first, I think he's really going to be around the C level. He's definitely better than Misty, but the crowd didn't seem to like him, neither did the judges. Now, Safara, on the other hand, even though she didn't get the diamond, I still think is going to be an S at this current point. And the reason for that is she again embodies what the ideal VTuber 3D model is going for. You know, it's about peace and love and everybody respecting each other regardless of their types. It's really cool. Now Wolfy, or Wolfgang, he is going to struggle. Again, his personality doesn't match his jokes along with his avatar and the fact that he sings opera. All that together is just kind of too over the place for them to really get a strong following from his own audience. Kai, unfortunately, was eliminated. Again, his midtones were just not good enough in order to really seal the deal. And then Aster, I think, is also going to be up at the top. She isn't currently the best, even though she got the diamond. However, I think that's going to play out more as they continue to get more experience together. So after 2 episodes, we have Dipper Scott and Safara, Seven and Aster as the main 4 out of the competition to keep your eyes on. And then in the middle of the pack, we have Queen Dynamite, Loverboy, Misty Rose, and Wolfy. And then last but not least, we already have 2 of the 20 contestants eliminated. And so Bernie Burns from episode 1 and Kai in episode 2 were eliminated from this Fox's show of Alter Ego. So that wraps up everything for episode 2 of season 1 of Fox's Alter Ego. And I want to know what you think. So go ahead and put some comments below and let me know who you think is the best and who is most likely to get eliminated in the next episode. And make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the rest of this series. And if you already missed the first episode, make sure to go back and take a look at it because it truly is awesome. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, keep being awesome.